Okay, like seriously, I'm going to be rude to you, and I'm going to say because it feels like I never hear you say
I can't wait to hear
that.
it. I'm going to come work with your company just to hear this.
No, you're not.
Like they're gonna, I'm going to put in the application like they're going to be like, so why do you want to work here? I want to hear Mr. Hill say in real life. I
Oh,
want to see it
now
with
I
my
have to
eyes.
bleep. I have to bleep that. I was trying to not have to bleep anything.
Yeah, I'm
the
sorry.
the because the reason is like when you're sitting there and I've got like three people in a room, people feel the need to talk and discuss things, and it's like, no, I need to actually look at the problem. I need everybody to shut up, be quiet, and let me look at the problem. I know the urgency of these things. If I don't have the time to go and look at the problem, I'm not going to be able to solve it. And I think the issue with that, the underlying issue is it's somebody who on the surface says, I want to be helpful. I want to be there to help you. But the underlying issue is no, it's you are insecure. You are insecure in that you are not sure that I am actually doing what I'm saying I'm doing if you cannot see me. And you're, because of how important this is and how high up it is for you, the consequences, or how high up you are in the hierarchy, the consequences of this not getting fixed are much higher for you than they are for me. So because they're much higher for you, you become like a lot more panicky, and you're like, I need to know and be sure that I am in control of the situation so that I can I can cover my ass there. I swore for you.
I feel so good about it. I'm just living in the glow of that for a minute. It's still not as good as the direct FU,
Yeah.
but 3-letter word is almost as good as a 4-letter word.
That's true. So anyway, like that is the underlying issue when you have people who are sitting there like when you need a moment of focus and stuff, and yet people are like like distracting you and pulling you apart and pulling you in five different directions. It's because most likely they have some sort of in like something else is going on either under the surface, or you
Emotional
just don't.
damage.
Yes. That was really
Anytime somebody
loud.
does that to you, you just need to go there and play the emotional damage meme. Like
So
anybody's, I need to have a meeting with everybody, including you, Mr. Allen.
yeah.
Emotional damage.
And that's part of it too, is I think people also want to do like they want to have I think a lot of people want to have meetings. So like project managers and product owners, they're notorious for just putting meetings on people's calendars and like tons of meetings and stuff, and it's like, no, you don't understand. Your developers need time to focus on things.
You need
And
me time.
yes, and you keep putting all of these meetings on people's calendars because that's how you get stuff done. That's how you figure things out and how you are productive. And so because you think that's how you're productive or how you've been trained to be productive, that's how you think everybody is. And it's like, no, no, oh
Yeah.
no.
Yep. And it kind of goes back to the dichotomies of leadership that if you use all your leadership capital to force people into meaningless meetings,
Yes.
you lose respect.
Don't you and I know that?
Yes. Yeah. So I'll give the wannabe leaders some advice out there.
Yeah.
Don't drag everybody off on the middle of a public holiday for a team meeting unless the company's about to go bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell them your need is more important than their family.
Mm-hmm.
And don't tell them that they need to work overtime,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
which they talked about later in the story where there was uh and whoever all the people who told me this, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about somebody in this book because there's a case study. Okay, like if you're feeling guilty, don't blame the preacher, right? So in the book, they talk about, and I'm trying to draw it back to the book. They talk about where there's a financial organization where working overtime, constantly being accessible was part of the culture.
Yep.
And there was a newcomer that came in. They were trying to relieve stress and burnout, and they
Yep.
found that you could be more focused, give people the freedom that they need without interrupting their personal life, and have better results and maintain long term talent, which is a major expense for many businesses, especially today.
Yeah,
That's what I talk about.
I mean, to briefly talk about it, the thing I like about Slack, and this is the company culture at Slack. When you leave work, you are not available. They very much say you are not available, and it's true with another company called Basecamp. That's very similar. Uh, so Slack, everybody should know and understand what it is. Basecamp is a very similar type of product. It's
Didn't
like Project.
Basecamp write a book?
Yeah, they've written multiple books. They were one of the first companies to that led the
Ruby on
charge
Rails?
in remote only. And yeah, and they were also developers for Ruby on Rails. Um, or were they the developers for the root language Ruby? One
I
of
think
those.
they're big users of it, but
Yeah.
inactive in the early growth.
Yeah, very much. And so Basecamp and Slack have this major policy of, okay, it's 5 o'clock and you're going home. Do not get your up on. Do not get on Slack. There's other. They also have rules in place where outside of company hours, do not send direct messages unless it is an emergency. um, Things like that. And because it's all meant to encourage you to take time off, to separate yourself from work and business. And that was one of the big things that you were just talking about with like that one company where do not call people in on a public holiday. It's like, yeah, understand what you're if like be if you let your employees set their working hours, respect those working hours. Do not reach out to them. When you let your employees have PTO, do not reach out to them on PTO unless it's an absolute emergency. And let people like make sure people know and understand. It's just like all of that stuff is very important because when you give people the ability and the chance to go and recharge and create a separation between them and their work, what ends up happening is they come back in and they're ready to be more focused and more productive. And that's very important. Um, One thing that's been very interesting to watch is there's a rise in the number of companies over the last couple of years. It's very small at the moment, but it is creeping up where they switch to a 4-day work week. You're still working 40 hours, or some of them aren't, some are, but like they just focus on 4 days, and what they've noticed is a rise in productivity. They're able to get more done because the thing with doing that is you only have so many days to get your work done, so people feel like they have to be very focused on getting their work done, if that makes sense. I think I just said get work done like 5 times.
Just do it, right?
Yep.
You should be the new Nike spokesperson.
Yeah, instead of Shia
Get
LaBeouf.
work done. Do it.
Get her done. Do you remember that? So, um, the other thing is, and I think you and I had like this big discussion last time about open office. I think I think the
I
open
love it.
office. I think it's the
Open
worst.
parking lots.
Yep, I think it's the worst idea ever. I think
I love it.
I think most company because most companies are trying to keep things cheap and try to keep costs down. That's why they focus on doing open offices and stuff. And I think that's a mistake because I think you're losing money by doing an open office in the long run. I think if you give
Maybe.
it,
I
yeah.
think what you're also forgetting is with the open office floor plan, there's a such thing called handcuffs.
Oh yes, okay.
And I'm not talking the
Please,
golden ones because they
please
don't
explain them.
tend to go with the open office format, but they're as valuable.
Always, always, always valuable. So, all right. Last the last couple of sections are just kind of interesting to me. Like they talk about kids, or he talks about kids and how to raise indistractable kids and stuff. And I don't know if we want to go into that. What do you think?
Let's do it, right?
All right,
Um, here's my
go
Phil's
do it.
perspective on raising kids.
Okay.
Just give them vodka and joints and see how well behaved they are. Or risperidone or whatever kind of crack the parents give their kids that they think are OCD because they want to play,
Yeah.
right? And they run around. Stupid kids trying to have fun.
Excuse me.
Drug them, drug them. Don't need to teach them anything. I am so sure he doesn't treat his kids the way he says.
I look.
If he did, his kids would be on drugs.
I was reading it. I was just like, this. What? Huh? A lot of what he was talking about through that, the biggest takeaway I had with the kids is you need to work with them and help them understand like they why they are getting distracted and what's like trying to get them to pull them away from the things that they should be doing. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I get that. I understand that, but there's a point at which you can't do that. Like a 5-year old, you're not going to be able to sit there and reason with a
Kids
5-year
can't
old.
self govern.
Yeah. They just can't.
Yeah, yeah.
And
They don't have the actual ability for a long time. That's why you
uh,
have discipline, right? And
and
that's why God gave us parents to
yes.
know what that discipline should be.
And you know what? Maybe you are the one lucky person in 1,000 that has a kid who at a very young age learns to self-govern. The problem is they're probably not actually self-governing. They're probably doing that to please you, and they see that like them following that behavior pleases you, so they're still like they're going to do that, and they're working on that because it pleases you, it makes you happy, and they want to be, and they're happy when you're happy. So there's like
And
anyway,
that's nice.
it is nice, but that leads to a whole other discussion. But anyway, my view of it is one, I'm not like I'm kind of the opinion at this point, and maybe it'll change over the next several years. Um, what I like, I'm of the opinion, hey, um, don't give your kid a cell phone until like 16, or to be fair, or to be even more blunt, um,
I
don't
don't know about
get
smartphone, but don't give them a smartphone.
Oh, definitely don't give them a smartphone. I'm almost even of the opinion of don't give them a smartphone until they're out of the house and let them make their own decision about that smartphone. Like
Mhm.
give them an old traditional flip phone.
Yeah, yeah. So with three boys at different ages now, between baby and technical adulthood. I can say that none of them need to have uh, any kind of social media on their phone.
Oh,
They
absolutely
don't
not.
need to have TikTok or videos or pornography on their phone.
Yep.
You should be very cautious to keep kids away from pornography,
Mm-hmm.
certain kinds of music, and weird communications with
Mm-hmm.
adults
Mm-hmm.
at young ages, right? Dads,
Mm-hmm.
parents of boys, watch out. It's not 1980, right? There's a lot of people out there that want to hurt little boys because they think it's dirty and they like to make things dirty and broken.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, dads of daughters, you know what you have to watch out for. Your dad is a different world now.
Yep. Yep. It's all messed up. Everything, all of it. And, I just nothing more I can say than that. It's just, and a lot of it, you don't want to let that even into your house. You don't want to let that into your kids' lives. And it's,
At some point, you got to give them the tools to be ready for it.
yep.
I don't know what a good mix of that is.
I think you're going to,
Um,
I think that in and of itself is going to very much depend upon your kid.
yeah,
Like,
I
just,
agree. I agree. Every kid is so different.
yep.
You know,
Mhm.
if the somebody who has just one kid, um, to say that they think they know how to parent, no.
Hmm. No, you
Somebody with
only.
just two kids who thinks they know how to parent, yeah, probably not. Talk to the mother or the single mother that has 3 or 4 boys,
Yeah. Oh,
and
jeez.
then you can have a parenting conversation.
Yeah, it's true. You only know how to parent your kid.
Yep.
That is the only thing I can say. And yeah, sure, there are people out there and child psychologists and stuff who've written all these parenting books, but I'm pretty certain most of those parenting books are just bull.
Oh, totally. Uh, we'll talk about this field of psychology on a private section another day.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, the long and short of like the parenting section that he talks about is like you gotta watch out for your kids. And I read it and I'm like, okay, I get some of that stuff. I understand it. Like he talks about creating a pact with his daughter. He's about watching TV shows and stuff, and he asks his daughter, "All right, what do you think is a good amount of time to watch TV?" And then she's like, 45 minutes a day. And I'm like, not really. Most people don't, you know, like most kids are not going to say that.
Most kids will, right? And then when the 45 minutes is up, Daddy, can I have another 20 minutes?
There is that. Yes, that's going to happen. Yep.
Right. And as a kid, have a kid express time. Come on, they can barely tell what the clock is.
Yeah. Yep. Kids don't like it. I don't remember when I like really fully understood the concept of time.
I can tell you the value when I learned the value of contraception on the third boy. Um,
If that was the case, then you'd have more.
well, I thought I thought I was free. I was like 40. I'm all set. Right, life is easy.
The funniest is there's this guy on social media. He's got 9 kids.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he and his wife started their family by adopting excuse me, like 3 of them.
Oh well.
Maybe, and then they ended up having quadruplets.
Mwahaha.
Yeah.
Take that, adoption parents.
Yeah. So the well, hold on. So the funniest part about that in my view, he like their quadruplets were oops babies. So they weren't really planning on having another or more, and just
And
all
they
of a
got
sudden,
4.
yep, yep.
Oh
But
wow.
the way I look at that and the way I see his story and everything, it's one of those where when you are trusted with a little, you are going to be blessed with a lot. So he and his wife were entrusted with a few kids, and then they got a lot.
Right. There it is.
Yep.
God God gave you your reward.
Yeah.
Take
Exactly.
it. Take
So.
that.
Yep. The
It's
other
a lot of
part.
love. Look, where there's
Yeah.
obviously where there's room for 3, there's room for 12.
Yeah. Exactly. Dude, he has one video where he's like, "Today we're going to Sam's Club," and they go to Sam's Club and it's like $800 of food, and I am really
And there's
talking
breakfast.
food. It's like, wow, how long does that last you?
Yep.
Oh
Oh yeah,
man.
I remember when in Ohio.
Oh
Every
boy.
once in a while, there'd be these families. You see 3 kids running behind the stroller. You got the feeling that wasn't all the kids.
Yeah.
And 5 gallons of milk, 3 cartons of eggs, loaves of bread,
Yep.
ketchup, mustard, you name it. And I'm looking and I'm laughing and I go, "Breakfast, huh?" He's like, "Yes."
The funny part is, like, I want that. I really do. I love having. I think big families are awesome. I think I would love to have that, but I don't think that's going to happen for me. So,
Well, I wish you have that and as soon as possible. That and more. I wish for your breakfast to be 2 cartloads.
I can't wait because you're going to go home and your wife is going to be like, "Hey, Phil."
Guess what? I'd be like, "You didn't give away more baby clothes, did you?"
Yeah, exactly.
That's what happened last time. She gave away all the baby stuff, and guess what?
That's the funny part. That's the other thing I hear with people is they're like, "Yeah, we got rid of all the baby clothes, and now we're
Yep,
pregnant
just
again."
gave them away, and we're
Yeah,
pregnant.
exactly.
And
That's
like,
the other part of it.
don't want to get pregnant? Sell that shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Sell it for
exactly.
$1. Don't make it a
It
good deed.
it makes me laugh. I'm like, really? So anyway, oh, the other thing I was going to say with like the distractions and the packs and stuff with kids and things like that is like I've tried that too with other with when it comes to study time and things like that with teenagers and stuff. And the thing is, like, you can't really do that. It doesn't always work because the teenagers are gonna want to go off and do their own thing. So you have to be the parent, as you kind of alluded to, and you have to enforce that stuff. So you can sit down and you can work out a reasonable plan with your kid to go and study and get things ready and work. But the thing is, once they do that, you need to sit down with them and be the enforcer and be like, you said you were going to do this. You're not
Well, the way
doing
I look
this.
at it is, um, making pacts with kids is
Mhm.
like making a contract with a druggie,
Yes, that's absolutely 100% true. I agree with you.
right?